Hello. No gardening again today. Too cold, too wet. Wrong time of year. But we still get out the house, we still take the camera with us and go for a walk. And today I've been for a walk along the cliff tops above the town. And I came across this. I'm going to cut into some film now, a little clip that I took while I was on the cliff top. And what you'll see in it, you'll see in the foreground a house, in the background the Whitehaven outer harbour, and in between the two you'll see something that looks like a candlestick. Check this out. Then we'll do a bit of explaining. Okay, so you saw the house, spotted the big candlestick behind it, and behind that the outer Whitehaven harbour. I'm going to tell you about the candlestick first. Okay, let me just get some text. I'll read it with you and then I'll pop it up on the screen as a still, just in case you don't catch my accent. Check this out. Modelled on a candlestick owned by the Lowthers, the candlestick was until the 1880s a boiler house chimney for Wellington Pit. Towering above the harbour, Wellington Pit was by far the most spectacular of Whitehaven's pits. Built in the form of a castle with a great keep, turrets and huge crenellated walls, its twin shafts were sunk between 1840 and 1845. Hey, how about that? It was only a couple of weeks ago I shot a video about getting rich on the backs of children. Getting rich on the backs of children. Yeah, and in that video we looked at a memorial to the children who were killed in the local mines. And then we looked at a plaque commemorating Sir James Lowther. Big landowner, reputedly to be the richest commoner in the country at the time, made his money out of coal mining, and here he is again. Now I think there's probably 100 years of separation here between the two, but nevertheless that dynasty carried on. They carried on the Lowther legacy and mined coal in the area for hundreds of years. And this was one of their pits. So that ties up, doesn't it? The town's full of them. The town was built on coal and shipping and export. So the town was built on the stuff. So it's no wonder there's a lot of history regarding coal mining. But check this out. Did you see the names of those two lads? Those two lads were on my original video. They're on that remembrance stone in the churchyard, in the church grounds. If you haven't watched it, I'll probably tag it on to the end of this video as a card that you can just click on and watch that video. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. But those two youngsters, 8-year-old, killed working down a mine, working down a coal pit. Whoa, come on. And that memorial stone, as you know if you've seen it, is full of names of children killed in the mines. 8-year-old, 10-year-old, 12-year-old, 14, 13, just babies really, working down the coal mine. And then of course, when the family was as rich as it was, it could build something as splendid as this tower above a coal mine. Totally unnecessary, but I guess it's a way of showing the people down below just how rich you are, isn't it? Build something that looks like a castle, but it's a coal mine. Come on, what's all that about? Okay, that was a bit sad really. Now let's get on to that. Let's get on to that house. Again, I'll put you some text up. I'll read it with you, and then I'll give you a still just in case it doesn't come out too well, or the accent you can't understand it. Check this out. During his infancy, the Irish essayist, novelist, and satirist Jonathon Swift, 1667-1745, author of Gulliver's Travels, lived for a time in Whitehaven, brought over from Dublin by his nurse. Hey, how about that? What a contrast. We've just talked about children working down coal mines. Now I think there's possibly 100 years separation in these tales, but nevertheless it's about the lives of children. We've just talked about children working down coal mines, and now we're talking about a child who's got his own personal nurse. A personal nurse that brings him over to Whitehaven from Dublin, and they live in that house. They live in that house, and when they lived in that house, that chimney wasn't there. So they had an uninterrupted view, a panoramic view of that outer harbour. Now, as you saw from the video, it was quite a misty day when I was up there. But can you imagine young Swifty looking out of his window, being in the garden, looking down on that harbour? sailing ships sailing in and out of Whitehaven harbour, and then perhaps his nurse would take him down onto the harbour side and he would see the ships being loaded and unloaded, sails being furled and unfurled, ropes everywhere, busy, busy. Apparently at the time Whitehaven harbour was one of the biggest in the country, certainly in the top 2 or 3 in terms of shipping that came and went. It was a bustling seaport and a thriving coal community. There was lots of poor people there, but there was work. Everybody had work. But of course, young Swifty didn't need to work, did he? It sounds as though he came from a moneyed family. And contrast the two, young Swifty sitting in the garden, watching the ships roll in, watching the ships roll out. With the sunshine on his back, and the other lads underground, never seeing daylight. Blimey, what a contrast. Anyway, so after I'd shot this and I'd thought about it, I walked down into the town and I found this. So, Gulliver's Travels. Is this where young Swifty got his inspiration to write that book? What do you think? What do you think? Wow, Gulliver's Travels. Who would have thought it? Who would have thought it? Guy sails across the seas, he gets shipwrecked, I think he does, and finishes up on a distant shore. Do you think that Swifty might have got his inspiration from his childhood in Whitehaven? Whatever length of time he stayed, I don't know, but he must have saw all those ships coming and going. Do you think he may have got his inspiration from Whitehaven? I don't know. What do you think? Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I enjoyed the day out making it, wandering up and down that cliff, even though it was raining, but I did enjoy it. It was a windy day, but it was good to get out. And yeah, you should get out as well, even if the weather's a bit inclement. If it's wet, if it's blowing, just put some decent clothing on. There's no such thing as a bad day, it's just bad clothing. You know, get some decent clothing on, get out in the weather. You'll enjoy it. Yeah, you will. I hope you've enjoyed this video too. Okay, so this is Homegrown Veg signing out. And check this video out if you haven't already seen it. It ties these two together.